everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we are doing a mod review for the mod called Interface Redrawn. But before this video begins, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Did you know there's only about a 15% chance you're subscribed? So do us both a favor and subscribe to the channel. With that out of the way, let's jump into the mod. This mod called Interface Redrawn is basically a mod that, well, redraws the entire EU4 UI, the entire EU4 user interface. It is absolutely amazing. Not only that, but this mod actually is Iron Man compatible, so you can have this mod installed while also getting achievements, which I think is really cool. This mod honestly reminds me of sort of like a Minecraft texture pack almost. Honestly, this mod sort of reminds me of the cartoon Minecraft texture pack, if anyone remembers that. I don't know if anyone here remembers that texture pack, but that was a really funny texture pack that came out on Minecraft and the Xbox, at least that's what I remember it from. And this mod really reminds me of that. It really has an interesting user interface similar to that, and it reminds me of that. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that it adds. Well, of course, it changes the UI. So this is kind of how the UI looks for the countries tab. So you go here, we are taking a look at Castile here. As you can see, it basically changes everything in regards to the icons for the missionaries, the diplomats, the colonists, and also the merchants. It changes everything for the power projection. I really like that for the power projection. Legitimacy is there, the prestige is there. This is the corruption, this is the stability. These are your sailors. This is your manpower, which I love that soldier icon. And this is what you have in your treasury. This is kind of how the UI looks in the country interface. I will say that it will take some getting used to knowing what different things mean, as this really does change it. I mean, it really does change a lot of stuff. So you will have to kind of hover over stuff and kind of, know what it says. It's definitely not something that you can just translate some of the knowledge that you might already have, because these icons really are different. I mean, a lot of this stuff really is different, and unless you know where the exact placements are, you may have to hover over it. But again, this is expected. It's a complete UI overhaul, so you should expect to have to learn something like this. I really do like the new icons for the mana. I really like the admin, the diplo, and the mill. I really like the admin, especially with the feather and the ink and the paper. That is really cool and really emphasizes the admin. This is how the estates look as well, which is really cool. There isn't too much change for the estates. As you can see, kind of the original stuff here with the hand and the sword and everything is the same. However, the border of it is actually redone for everything in the estates. This is kind of what you see here for the different estates, as you can see right here. Now, I will say that this mod is in beta, by the way, so if there is stuff that is unstable or something you might not like, do keep in mind this mod is in the beta patch. I just wanted to show you all the tabs for everything real quick. I know I showed the estate tab and kind of how this looks. This looks really cool. This is the subject tab. I absolutely love these little icons here. The flags are amazing, which we will go over the flags in just a moment. This is how the mill stuff works right here. I do like the recoloring. I don't know, again, this is beta, like I just mentioned. I don't know if stuff will be changed or will be kind of swapped around, whether this will be turned back to blue or red. I don't really know, but I really do like this. This is interesting with the generals. I can't really tell what that is. Let me know in the comments if you can tell what that is. I can't really tell what they're trying to do. I love the Slack and recruiting standards with this smiling guy. I don't really understand who he's supposed to be, but it is so funny to me. This is what we have for the religion. We have the cardinals here, which look really cool and kind of just using the same religious icons. Anyway, this is what we have for the stability. I really like that big stab button. That is really cool. Must be really nice to click. In fact, there we go. I gave myself some admin. We can go ahead and click it. Oh, that is so satisfying clicking that button. I don't know. It's super satisfying to me, but I really do like how they have these various buttons outlined and are honestly really satisfying to click. Still, that is so cool. This is what we have for kind of the religious and discussion tab, the decisions and policies tab right here. This is kind of when you can click a decision. This is how it looks. I really like this scroll looking thing. Looks really nice. This is for the missions. This mission tree, I will say, these missions look fantastic. I absolutely love the mission tree. And I was saving this for a little bit later in the video, but I love how these mission trees look. I love actually how the mod has completely changed how the mission trees look. I wouldn't say it's completely changed it, but it's really given it a big refresher. I can't really explain why or how or why it's refreshing to me. It just is really refreshing. I think it's because they're a little bit rounded or something like that. Whatever the case may be, I really love how the mission trees look. It's definitely been given a substantial facelift, and having the flag flags over it like this in the square formation looks really, really cool. This is what we have for kind of the ideas column. Again, this is kind of how the ideas look. I love all of the new icons, and you will maybe have to learn how the icons look. It'll probably take some getting used to, especially if you play it, but it's definitely a big upgrade, at least in my opinion. Now, this is for the stuff that looks really cool. So this is how the tech looks. I really like the whole tech tab. This is what they actually have featured on the mod page, by the way. They have some screenshots. One of them is the tech tab. I really like how this looks. I love how it's, again, really satisfying. All the buttons are so satisfying to click just based on how they look. It's so cool. I really like how everything is just very much highlighted and things like that, and the colors and the contrast of various things really adds a lot to it. Also, I really like this icon at the top where it changes for everything that you click on. Really cool. And this is kind of what we have for economy. Again, I love all of these fantastically new icons. It adds so much to the game. It really does feel like you are almost playing a different game. It's EU4, but it really feels like a different game. It almost feels like you're playing sort of like EU3 or something like that, to be honest. And this is the economy tab. Some of this stuff, I don't really like this balance thing. I think it's a little bit weird, kind of how it's blue and then this looks really dark. It makes it a little bit difficult to see. However, everything else looks really cool, and I love how the sliders definitely are a lot easier to see. These little dots for the sliders are definitely a lot easier to see. I honestly, a few times have struggled to see them. I mean, my eyesight isn't that good because I refuse to wear my glasses, but the sliders nonetheless are sometimes a little bit hard to see in base game EU4. However, this mod makes them really nicely highlighted here, so they're definitely not a struggle to see for anyone. This is diplomacy. Again, this is what I showed you. This is kind of how the government thing looks. I really like the cultures as well. Love all of the new icons. And this is how our court looks. I showed it briefly, but this is how our court looks again. This is all of the new icons where we have the admin, the diplo, and the mill all looking really cool. Another thing I wanted to show is all of the different map modes. So these are the ones that I have selected for myself. As if you don't know, you can actually select different maps for yourself here in EU4. These are the ones that I have selected for myself. But we have the terrain one, the political, the trade, the diplomatic, and the religious. This is kind of the various icons here. Yours might be the same, they might be different, and these are all the other different icons here. They are definitely really nice. They aren't super drastic, which I think is good, as you don't want to change a lot of these icons super drastically, because then people are just going to have to essentially kind of relearn what the different icons mean. And at least for myself, when I was learning EU4, that was honestly one of the hardest things, just trying to memorize what the different icons mean. Eventually I got it, but it did take a very long time. But this mod just kind of gives it a nice little facelift. It doesn't necessarily make it super drastic. I absolutely love how that fort looks. Really cool all-rounded mod. Another thing that it changes, and is something that you probably already saw, is all of the flags. So the flags are actually kind of interesting. They're banners, but they're not heraldry, if that makes sense. They're basically just banners, but they're using kind of the default EU4 one. So it's interesting. They're banners, but they use kind of the default EU4 heraldry, if that makes sense. I know some people prefer the heraldry. They prefer kind of the rounded up heraldry. Personally, I'm fine with either. I honestly like banners a little bit more, to be honest. That's just kind of what I prefer. However, you can prefer something else. Let me know what you prefer in the comments down below. Actually, do you prefer the normal heraldry or do you like banners? Let me know. Of course, I'm not going to go over all the countries, but this is just kind of what we have. They don't change the flags, though, I will say, so you don't really get new flags like you get in some other mods, like in the banners 3.0 or whatever that mod was called. You don't really get the new banners like that. However, it does kind of make them shaped a little bit differently, making them square. Also, one of the last things I wanted to show you, and a thing that I think is really cool, are the new army icons. So look at this. This is so amazing. Look at all of these fantastic little icons here for your army. So you have your soldiers here, your infantry, and then you have your cavalry guys here. These are all exclusive. I know these are basically French old guards from the Napoleonic Wars, but this is how it looks for all the different nations. I mean, you can look at these other ones here. Look, I can go ahead and switch over to Castile. And again, it is the same thing in Castile. However, it is really cool. I absolutely love how the soldiers look. The soldiers look the same on the map. However, I do love how their icons are completely revamped and different. Really fantastic mod. To rate this mod, I definitely give it an 8 out of 10. It is such a well-made mod, and honestly, I'm really considering using this in my next playthrough, just either when I'm playing for myself. I won't use it for the guides because new players might confuse with that. However, it is a really well-rounded mod, and I love how it basically makes it seem like you're playing a new game, but it also keeps some of the fundamentals of EU4. And if you really want to feel like you're playing a completely different game, maybe like you're playing EU3 or whatever, you should pair this with a brand new map mod. So a mod that kind of changes the look of the map. Obviously not a mod that completely changes the map. However, a mod that basically makes the map look different. That would pair so well with this. Definitely would make it amazing. Another thing that I actually forgot to show here was the government reforms and the production interface. So I showed this very briefly, but this is kind of how the government reforms look. The pictures themselves are the same. However, again, the outlines have been changed, similar to what you have in the estates or in the mission tree. Also, one other thing that I wanted to show was kind of how the great powers looked, and that is the same, but I wanted to show here the production interface, so because this actually looks quite different. So this is kind of what we have for the manpower right here. This is what we have for the tax, and this is what we have for the production, the nice windmills. Really, really love that. This is what we have for the Navy. Absolutely love how those ships of the Navy look. They look so cool. This is what we have for the autonomy. That is all the same. This is what we have for the cultures. The icon is the same, unfortunately. However, the little tab here has been changed. This is what we have for the buildings. So the building icons and kind of this stuff above it is the same. However, this icon out here is different. Again, this is what we have for the exploiting / developing screen. Really, really cool. This is what we have for the states. I really like this, is this really kind of hops and really makes it evident that you don't have a state, or you do have a state, or you can exploit it. Really, really cool here. This is what we have for the diplomacy. The stuff up here is the same. However, these little buttons are a lot more outlined and are really, really cool. And again, this is what we have for the exploitation. That's going to do it for this mod, but before you go, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to join the Discord. The Discord is the best place to talk to me, as well as to talk to other fellow EU4 content creators and players. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.